Good evening, everyone. If you can hear my voice, please can you put it on the chat box that you can hear my voice, please? If you can hear my voice, can you just say yes, we can hear you? All right, thank you very much. So you are welcome to the Power BI class. So let's wait for maybe about 2 or 3 minutes for those that are having network issues. So while we are waiting, I will share my screen now. So I believe that you can see my screen. So last week we talked about data modeling and we did some visualizations, if you remember properly. So let me open we combined some data together. I believe that you still remember this data. So let me open what we started last week. So I've opened it. And I believe that you are also practicing. If you can see my screen, can you put a yes that you can see my screen as well, please? If you can see my screen, just put a yes that I can see your screen. All right, thank you. So while we are waiting for the Power BI to load, you remember that we talked about loading data modeling last week, how our tables were connected, and we did some data visualizations. So today, sorry. So today we are going to dwell more on some data visualizations as well. And we are going to increase we are going to have more pages, more reports on the visualizations that we have done. And I will tell you how we create more visuals, how you can determine the visuals you want to use and the likes, and how you can make it faster. So for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we are still going to be using this thing that I'm building, because next week we are going to if I'm not sure we'll get there today, but next week I will introduce you to more DAX, that is more calculations in Power BI. So, but today is more of creating more visuals. And apart from being called a data analyst, you can also be called an insight analyst. So we want to, and the reason why you can be called an insight analyst is because you are you are giving the stakeholders insights into the data. So you are giving the stakeholders insight for the data. So last week, let me refresh our memory. We did the total sales. We did the total quantity that was sold by this company throughout the year 2024. And we look at the total number of category sold, the total number of quantities sold by category of their products. And we also look at the total sales that was sold by category of the product for the year 2024. So let's delve ahead and look at some of the things that some of the visualizations that we can also do. So let me copy this and paste it. So now we could have total sales by region. That is, we could inform our stakeholders the total sales by region. So let me click on region, delete this, then have it like this. Now, so here we have from this insight now, we can see that in 2024, the most sales were done from the West. Most of the sales came from the West. Now we can duplicate this as well. And just like I taught you that day, you can reduce the size like this. I mean, for good visualization practice, that is, you can make the color. So all you need to do is to come here and go to the columns. And you can do it for whichever one you want to do it. That's not my concern for today because I've taught you that. So let me edit the title, which is very, very important. So we have total sales by category. So it's going to change to total sales by region. Total sales by region. So this is the total sales by region. So if you want to calculate the total quantity that was sold by, let's do a calculation for the total quantity that was sold by region. So let me change this to total quantity that was sold, and we can use another visual. So it's not compulsory that we use that. So we can use another visual. And there's another one that we can use. So this also, depending on whichever one, we can use this, but I prefer this. I prefer this just to make it more clearer. Now, there's something that I told you that we are going to do this today. Now we have an order date here. So how do we change this order dates? Now, so we have order date here. We have year, quarter, month, day. So this, we can rename this as our reports 1, and click on another new page, rename it. You can give it any name you want. Report 2. So if we want to know the number of orders, so let me paste this here. If we want to know the number of orders that was done over the month, so here, the number of sales that was done over the month in year 2024. As you can see that I've clicked on months, then I'll go to the total sales. Now, looking at this visual doesn't seem like it's informing well, but when it comes to dates, it's better to use a line graph when it comes to dates. So that you can see properly that this is moving, and in February and March, they remains the same. Then the sales dropped in June, went up, dropped, went up. This is a very good visualization. So when it comes to, when you are dealing with data that has to do with dates, a line graph is the most suitable for it because it gives you when it was stable, it gives you when it dropped immediately, you can easily view it when it dropped. And leaving it as K like this is very good because it will not flood the whole place with all the numbers. So leaving it like this is very good. So we can also have, something like this as well. So we can have something for the quarter. Let's look out for the quarter. but we might not use the line graph for the quarter, and we might use it. So let me change this to quarter. Let me change this to quarter. So more sales were there in the last quarter of the year, but it dropped in quarter two, which is also the same thing as this, that it dropped. It dropped in quarter two. So I'm giving you how to inform your stakeholders the insights that you are getting from your visualization. So it's not just for you to draw the visualization, but for you to be able to interpret the insights. And if you want to investigate further, we can investigate further by looking at some of the products that were sold in these months. That is, some of the products that were sold in this month. And so we could look at the categories of those products that were sold for that month. So we could look at the categories of products that were sold for those quarter. And if we want to do that, we are not going to make use of a line graph. So let's make use of a bar chart, and let me click on product. Now, as you can see from this place, I believe that you can see clearly. I'm trying to give I want to give a logic to my stakeholders why we have a lot of sales in the last quarter. Now, you can change the for people that don't have full color blindness. So you need to, let me change the title here so that because there is no need to rush. If you are working on it, you have to change it. So this is the total number of sales per month. So total number of sales per month. And this connotes the total number of sales per month and total number of sales per month, per category and quarter, the quarter of the year. Now, now there could be a good explanation for this, because in December, which is the last quarter of the year, towards the last quarter of the year, people buy clothes a lot. And that is why we see a lot of sales, because people want to buy clothes for festive season and the likes. So that could be an explanation for that. And for electronics, at the end of the year, towards the end of the year as well, people, you could come up with, okay, people, they are changing house, and so they want to buy new electronics and the likes. But towards the beginning of the year, you are informing your stakeholders that there is always low sales. You are informing your stakeholders that there is always low sales. So what could be the reason why there is always low sales? It could probably be because why is there always low sales? It could probably be because people have spent money in the last quarter of the year, in the festive period, and so they don't have money at this time to buy things. So what could be the solution to increase sales? And that is why you have to come up with other suggestions, doing promos and the likes. That is why you see some companies, they do promo from the festive period, that is towards the last quarter of the year, and they move that promo to the first quarter of the year, of the new year, because of the insight they have received from their data analyst of the company. So can we continue? So now what I did here is, because I've not seen any question, what I did here is to the order date, I made the quarter, then I made the legend to be category. That is, I made the legend to be category. Then there's something that sorry, there's something that I also want to do, because we have not really looked at the product in itself, all the products one by one. We've not really looked at the products in itself one by one, and I want us to look at the products in itself and how we can filter and how it can be filtered. So now let's take a look at the product in itself. And so we have the product name and let's look at the total sales. So let me change this to a bar chart. Now, when you have something like this, you discover that it's too much. So what you can do to inform your stakeholders is you go to filters. So when you go to filters, you click on product name and you filter by, because what they will be interested in is the top 5 products. Let's say they are interested in the top 5 products that has the highest sales. So you click 5 there. I think I've taught you filtering before. Then you bring total sales here and you click on apply. So these are the top 5 sale products, the product name that were sold. Now these are their products. We don't know the category in which they are. So these are the top 5 sales products that were sold for the month. For the top 5 sale products. So we have to change the title. We have to edit the title there. Don't forget that it's very, very important. So you can come here. So the total number of sales the top 5 sales, the top 5 products, the top 5 sales by product name, the top 5 sales. So these are the top 5 sales for the year 2024. And we can also look at, you can combine it with the total quantity. And let me combine it with the quantity to know the quantity of those that were sold. But let's do it in another field. Let's do it in another field. What are the top 5 quantity? So let me remove this. The top 5 quantity that were sold. So agency is the top. It is the top here, followed by increase, followed by 4, followed by energy, followed by search. So let me edit the title here. Top 5 quantity sold. Top 5 quantity sold by product name. Then another thing that you can introduce, you can introduce as well is you can introduce, can we know the customers, the employee name, and their sales. But before I continue, let me see if we have questions. Please help share the data for yesterday class. I've shared the data. I thought I've shared the data. If you want to ask question here, not on the Excel class. Ask question based on the Power BI class. This is the Power BI class. I will share it, don't worry. If I have not shared it, I'm going to share it. So should I go on? Because I want to introduce you to slicers now. I want to introduce you to slicers. So should I go on? So that means there are no questions. Let me go on. All right, thank you. So let me introduce you to slicers. Now, slicers, now slicers most of the time can only work with categorical data. Slicers work only with categorical data. What I mean by categorical data is, total sales, it is numbers. They are not categorical data. They are continuous variable. So if you want to make use of a slicer, you make use of it with categorical data. So let me click on a slicer now. So let me click on a slicer now. And let me pick one of the categorical data, and let's pick category here. So let's pick category. Now we have category. Now I might want to, let me edit my, now what slicer does is that it makes your Power BI to be interactive. It makes your report to be interactive. Most people make mistake of calling this dashboard. It is not a dashboard until you publish it. So it's when you publish in Power BI that it becomes a dashboard. But I know that some of you make mistake. You say, okay, I'm developing a dashboard. Yes, but until it is published, it is not yet a dashboard. And if I want to publish, all I need to do is to publish it here. Because I have a Power BI subscription, so I'm the only one that can see it, because this is my own organization subscription for Power BI. So I'm the only one that can see it. So until it is published, that is when it becomes a dashboard. So that by side, Slicer makes a Power BI report or dashboard to be interactive. But I want to edit my slicer here. So I will go to formats and I will change this. So most of the time, I prefer it to be drop down instead of a vertical listing. So I prefer it to be like this, drop down. And when you when you have gone through some of these things very well, I mean, when you are experienced in Power BI, in most organizations, this is what they do. They use the drop down, and you can also edit it. You can make it single select alone, but it's better to make it multi-select and also to be able to select all. So I will click on select all, but I still want to format the background, format everything. That's how I like to design my own dashboard. So slicer header category, yeah, let it be in category. However, I want it to be, so I want it to be in blue color, bold, then Arial black, and so let me change the background. The background is white, change it to black. Then the values, Arial black. This is just me. It's not compulsory that you do your own like this. Make it bold. This is just how I like to do mine. And change the background to black. And if I want to change the whole background here, data format, effect, change it to black as well. So here I can bring it here. Now, what happens here is that when I want to make all these visualizations to be interactive, such that if I want to know that of clothing for the whole year, if I select all now, it's not going to change. But if I select clothing alone, you can see that my values changed. You can see that my values in all the four, let me move the slicer here so that you see what I'm talking about. So let me click on clothing alone. Can you see the values changing? Let me select all, deselect all. Can you see the values changing? So click back, let me click on sports. You can see that it's changing. So if you want to make your dashboards to be interactive, so if I want to know only for clothing, I'll click for clothing. If I want to know only for electronics, select all. I'll click for electronics. So if I want to know only for home, I will click for home. So you can see that it is all changing. And the top 5 for each product are changing. It's not the same. They are not the same at all. Now, let me create another slicer, possibly to make what I want to put here now is I want to look at customer details. So let me remove this and put customer. Okay, let me put employee names. So if I want to know each employee, I want to know each employees, I want to know their sales for the year 2024. So let me change this back to all. So I'll click on this. You can see this is for Christina Robbins. And like I said, it is all fake data. So I can inform my stakeholders that it was only from February to October that Christina made sales. That means she didn't make sales on January. She didn't make any sales in April because there's no April, there's no May here. So what Slicer does is to make your report to be interactive. That is what a Slicer does. It makes the report to be interactive. Now, and you can see here, this is the first quarter, second quarter, and this can be verified because if you look at this place, she worked very well in the first quarter, but maybe she was on leave. So something must have happened why she didn't work. Then it has to be investigated why she didn't make any sales in quarter 2. So that this is how you show insights to your stakeholders. So if they want to give appraisal for Christina Robbins now, quarter 2 is out of the show because she didn't do anything in quarter 2. And look at it. Quarter 2 is April, May, June, because quarter 1 is January, February, March. So she still worked for her primary February, March. But April, May was absent. And that is why quarter 2 was like this. So you need to understand how these things work. So let me select all back and click on Cindy Young. Now, Cindy Young worked a lot from January to December. There was quarter 1, quarter 2 was full, quarter 3, and you can see, you can also inform, see that he had more sales in this. So different things you can work on using a slicer. Let me see if we have question. Please, if we are to make PowerPoint presentation, do we have to make it in Power BI so the slicers can be interactive? Yes, that's why companies, they make you will do, they will do subscriptions they do Power BI subscriptions. Most of those companies, they do Power BI subscriptions. So you will publish the report. If I'm presenting my Power BI report to my stakeholders, I would have published it. And when I publish it, it's going to the published dashboard will be made interactive. Please do a recap on Slicer. Please help do a recap on Slicer. Yes, I will do a recap. Don't worry. Slicer, just make it interactive. That's all. There's nothing special about Slicer. Slicer just make they just make Power BI to be interactive. Nothing special about it. Nothing is special about it at all. You just make Power BI to be interactive. But I will go over it again if you're having issues with it. So when you publish, like I said, when you publish here, all these slicers will still be there. When you publish it, sorry, all these slicers will still be there and it will make it interactive. However, if you want to use PowerPoint and you just screenshot, then you are not it's not going to be interactive. Your report is not going to be interactive. So when you want to present your report in Power BI and the company does subscription, most companies have a Power BI subscription. So when they do Power BI subscription, you can always publish and your organizations will see it. Everybody in your organization will see what you have published. And so they have the data with them and you can always show them and be interactive with your reports. So this is like a performance reporting now because I'm trying to check all the employees and how they perform with sales. So I can check them one by one and inform the stakeholders, okay, Eric, this is the highest sales that Eric made for this month. And what is here, I can copy this here and copy it to the report here so that I can know the total number of sales that Eric had. So that if I want to know the total number of sales that Eric had, this is the total number of sales that Eric had in the year 2024. So let me copy this again. What is the total number of quantity that Eric sold? So maybe they were given targets. I know that sometimes you might be given targets. So he sold 55 and maybe he was given target of 60. That means there's a shortfall in his targets. Like I said, this is a fake data. They are not real data. So take note of it very well. So let's now assume that I want to, okay, let me create another slicer for the customers of the company. They want to know the customers, the sales that those customers make. Let me create a slicer for the customer. So let me change this from employee to customer name. Like I said, this is a fake data. They are not real data at all. So let me change this back to all. And let me return. So for Amanda Rose, who is a customer, now, so we can see this is Amanda. He made 856 sales. Now, because if you look at this place, there are a lot of customers here. I can create another, let me create another visualization that is showing total number of sales by customer. So let me create it here. So all it's going to show me is just the total number of sales by customer. That is what I want. That it should just show me the total number of sales by customer. So let me edit this month and let me have customer. So I want to know the top 5. Let me change this to all. I'm still coming. I'm going somewhere. So you can see that we have a lot of customers here. So let me click on it and let me look for the top 5 customers for the year 2024. So I want to inform my stakeholders the top 5 customers that made sales that patronized the company the most in the year 2024, because that's what the data is all about. So we can see that we have a lot. We have Joe's Drake. So there's a way we can do this. Let me change this to a cluster bar chart. All right, so we have this, we have it like that. Okay, so these ones, they made the same sales. They made the same sales. So let me edit it. So total sales by customer name. Let me edit the title. Total sales by top 5. Let me change it to top 5. Top 5 customers by sales. So these are the top 5 customers. But however, all these ones are tied, and that's why you have it like that. Andrew, Caroline, Gabriel, they are all fake data, just like I said. Now, when you experience something like this, and I want to use it to achieve something, and I come here and I want to check for only Amanda Rose. So let me deselect all. So it's only showing me Amanda Rose here. However, if I don't want this slicer to interact with this bar chart, how do I go about it? So let me change this back to all. If I don't want the slicer to interact, that is what I want to bring out. If I don't want this slicer to interact with all of what I have here, maybe or one of it, because maybe I don't want it to interact with this, because I can know the numbers here. So why should they interact with this again? So all I need to do is to go to format, then I will click on edit. So I will click on the slicer, view. So let me click out. Let me click on the slicer, format. So I will click on edit interaction. So now you see two icons here. Then I will now click on none. What this means is filter. So I will click on none. So I don't want this slicer to interact with this image, with this visualization. So let's test it now. You will see that it's not going to interact. Can you see? You can see that it's not interacting with it. So you need to understand that very well. Let me come again. I don't want this slicer to interact with this customer, the top 5 customer by sales. So what did I do? I clicked on the I click on the slicer, then I went to format, click on edit interaction. When you click on edit interaction, it's going to bring out these two for you. So just click on none. So when you click on none, then it is going to work for you. So if I don't want all these slicers to interact together, I will also click on none and click on none. So I don't want them to interact together. Do you understand it now? Let me see if we have questions. Please, I want to bring to your notice that the last data set, while practicing, I changed data type from date to text to date. Some of the dates were showing errors. You are not supposed to change the date to text because the data set I sent to you is already in date and Power BI has already seen it as date. So I don't know why you change it to text. I don't know why you change it to text. It's giving you error because you change it to text. I think that's why it's giving you error, because Power BI already has recognized it as date. if it is the data I'm talking about. Please, I'm looking for the keyword slicer in the menu. Is slicer just a keyword? No, it's not a keyword, because when you come here, this is slicer. Just click when you, before, this is slicer in Power BI. So it's not a keyword, it's the name of a visualization. Just like we have clustered bar charts, we have clustered column charts, we have 100% stacked bar charts, we have funnel, we have a funnel, just like we have that. So that's the way it is as well. So it's a visualization name, but it just makes it interactive. It makes our stuff to be, our report to be interactive, and that is what it does. It makes it interactive. That is what it does. Let me see if we have any other question. Okay, sir, mine was showing text. Is it in Power Query that it was showing text when you, is it the other date that was showing text? Can you answer that? Is it the other date that was showing text? If it was showing text, just convert it to date. Simple. If it was showing text, just change it to dates. It's not supposed to give you error. It's not supposed to give you error at all. Because last week, I didn't convert it to date or anything. It was Power BI recognized it as dates. So I don't know what happened. Power BI already recognized it as dates. I didn't convert it to text at all. And let me go to edit query and see what you are talking about. So click this out. You can see. So it already seen it as date. I didn't do anything to what I did yesterday, last week. This is the table view. It has already seen it as date. Formats. And you can change it here. So if you are experiencing a challenge, even if it was text that is showing, when you have loaded it, when you have loaded your report, come to table here and change the format here. Column tools, change the format to long dates. When you go to table view, now this is, I taught you these views. I said we are going to talk more on dark query. We are going to talk more on dark query next week. So this is the report view, and this is our table view, and click on order. So you can come here and change the format, change the date format to long date as you wish, so that it will convert it to months, and you can have your year as well. But here we just have 2024. We are just reporting on 2024 alone. We are reporting for the year 2024, and that's why we reported for months, and that's why we reported for quarter. So because your stakeholders will be interested in months, they will be interested in quarter. Okay, can you drop the last data set again? Yes, I will drop it again, no problem. But ensure that when I drop it again, don't do anything to it. Don't open it and save it as Excel, because possibly that might be the issue. Just leave it as a CSV file as I've left it. Just leave it like that, and it's going to work. Do we have any other question? So I've introduced you to Slicer. You can do more visualizations when you are practicing. You can do for region. You can do how the region perform in for the quantity sold, add slicer to it, and the likes. So next week, I'm going to we are going to go to more DAX, that is DAX. We are going to be working more on DAX next week. After editing interaction on your slicer, how can we return it for the visualization to interact? It's the same way. It's just like Control Z. It's the same way. Just click back on it and click on edit interaction and click on filter. So when you click on filter, then it can filter it. So it's the same way. The same way you undo. So when you click on filter, then this becomes none and it becomes unclicked. Don't worry, I said I will send it. Don't worry, I'm going to send it. Thank you. I will send it. All right. Do we have any other question? Okay, in the absence of no question, let me go over what I have said again. And let's quickly do a recap of everything. I believe that you understand it. So I said the total sales by region. So here we have that the East performed the most in the year 2020. No, this is quantity. This is not sales. So let's change the title. It was quantity and not sales. Yes, total quantity sold. Yes, it was quantity and not sales. So that's why you need to pay attention to details. Total quantity by region. So I'm going to save this as well because I'm still going to use this to create, I've saved it. I'm still going to use it to create some DAX query, how you can create measure. That is what we are going, that's what we are going to do next week. How we can create measure, how you can do some DAX query. So we are going to perform some simple DAX query next week. So let me click back on this edit interaction because I don't want to be saying that. Then the highest quantity was sold in the East. However, the highest sales was sold in the West. West had the highest sales. So we did that. Then we make use of, we did this total sales per month, the top 5 sales by product name, the top 5 quantity sold by product name, the total number of sales per category and quarter, and the top 5 customer by sales. So we have the total quantity that was sold, the total sales as well. And the reason why I brought this is because I want it to interact with, we can know the total number of clothing. So this is the total number of clothing that was sold and the total quantity. For electronics, this is the total sales and this is the total quantity. So that was the reason why I went to bring the total, all the total that we did the other time, which was a card visuals. Do you have any other question? All right. So I believe you enjoyed the class. If you enjoyed the class, just give me a reaction. So in the absence of no question, in the next 24 to 48 hours, I will drop the video and I will send you the data sets in the next 24 to 48 hours. So thank you very much. Thank you for joining the class. So I'll see you next week and we are going to talk about DAX next week. Thank you very much. See you next week.